Very good morning to you, and thank you very much, Weekly Fokech from Kisumu County. We are live from the National Treasury, just like you rightly put it, here. And what is going on here is, of course, where the Cabinet Secretary is expected to come and do the official or the ceremonial briefcase lifting. And of course, this is where on the budget reading day, if my camera person can pan around and probably just show the events that are happening here, the National Treasury, the budget reading at Kenya's National Treasury is usually an activity full of, it's a day full of activities, and from morning with preparations going on, and officers and security as well being beefed up. And of course, later on, we'll be expecting the arrival of dignitaries in about mid-morning. And of course, here, the atmosphere already feels like the budget reading day. Of course, we have the decorations going on and the final touch preparations here. And of course, later on, we expect one of the most iconic moments, which is the briefcase lift, and the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, Professor Njuguna Ndung, will step out from this entrance here and lift the briefcase with his briefcase in hand. And this is actually a tradition that is borrowed from the British system, and it's meant to symbolize the formal presentation of the budget to the nation on that leather-bound case containing the budget speech and some crucial documents, including even how that budget will be financed. Later on, the Cabinet Secretary will proceed to the National Treasury, to the National Assembly, where he will do the official presentation and the speech at the National Assembly before members of Parliament. And there as well, he'll issue even, he'll also mention how the budget will be financed, of which some of these contents are what are in the finance bill at the moment. Right now, I'm joined by one of the Kenyans here who I just grabbed heading to work. His name is Victor Majaliwa. Victor, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I want to hear some of your expectations ahead of budget reading today. What do you expect the Cabinet Secretary to say? And as a Kenyan, do you think do you feel you're well represented by maybe what's some of the draft bills that have been presented at the moment?
Yeah, thank you very much, Trevor. As a Kenyan, really, the biggest thing that is really high. So I'm hoping that the statement will favor Kenyans in terms of lowering the tax base is quite high. The cost of living generally has hit very hard on Kenyans, and hope that the policy that will come out will be very favorable in terms of giving an enabling environment for business. We have seen a lot of capital flight in the country, and so I'm hoping that the statement today will give hope to many businesses so that you can have the economy coming back to stability. So basically, taxes will be a big thing to see how that reflects on the common mwananchi. So that's big on my table, yeah.
All right, Victor, and of course, you've mentioned about capital flight, and among the key things that are happening, we have a budget of about 4 trillion shillings, and in this, Kenya cannot raise all of it. About 606 billion shillings will be financed. It's a budget deficit of 606 billion shillings, which will be financed by both external and internal borrowing. Does that concern you as a Kenyan? What do you anticipate will be the impact of borrowing that kind of a huge amount?
Well, as a Kenyan, the big concern is, yes, borrowing is good, but there's no problem with borrowing. But what do we do with the money we've borrowed? If the money we've borrowed in this country goes to the very reason that it has been borrowed, then we hope to see some good results. But then on the other side, if we borrow and we cannot be accountable for that money, then you can imagine we are the ones to suffer. So my concern is we can borrow, yes, but is the money going to where it is supposed to go? That's a concern for Kenyans.
Okay. There is also another issue of job creation and opportunities in the country. Of course, in as much as the country has some of this is directed towards projects. Do you feel hopeful of some of these projects that they'll create job opportunities? Some of them are going to construction, manufacturing. Do you think they will have a positive impact to Kenyans in terms of jobs?
Yeah, definitely. If just as I said earlier, if the money we get goes to construction, manufacturing, definitely yes, we'll get some jobs. But the most effective way is to have an enabling environment for business. Government is basically an enabler. So if the budget policy statement is big on enabling environment, then you create the best opportunity for businesses to set up, and now you create employment for the Kenyans. So just be an enabler. That is the best way to go about it.
Be an enabler. So basically the government should create a conducive environment for working.
Exactly. Just give us the best environment. Let the environment be very conducive for companies to set up in Kenya. Attract them, lower the taxes, be very favorable in your tax approach, and that way you allow the country to flourish.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Victor Majaliwa. Probably you can tell us where you work as we conclude.
Well, I work with the government of Kenya in the security sector. Maybe the organization, maybe I may not want to share that, but in the security sector. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Victor. We really do appreciate your time. And yes, indeed, you had it right, Victor Olo, and our viewers on TV. We want now to hand it over to Junei Karisa, who is actually in Mombasa. Junei, if you can hear me, those are the views from Nairobi outside the National Treasury. I want to hand it over to you in Mombasa.